pretty awesome, I thought. I don't know how you feel about this, but when the anointing of God comes over us, we should pay attention to it, because we're actually being obedient in our offering of whatever God has in store for each other. And I think that that's important to us. Should be important to us. You know, we shouldn't be holding back on any occasion. We should be able to just lay hands on someone and pray for them, because they are, and we are, all going through things at the same time. Today's message is going to be God's goodness in our brokenness. And I think it speaks a lot about the things that we go through. And it's important that we embrace it, because honestly, it's who we are. We're not able to receive anything that God's going to say to us or do with us if we're not broken. You know, just think about it, you know. If let's just say you're playing sports and, you know, you're conditioned and everything, you're padded and all that, and, you know, there's really no need for a Band-Aid, but the minute you get a cut or your arm sore or whatever, that you need ice or whatever, you get the most attention at that moment. And so the whole thing about that is patching you up so you can continue. And this is what God does in us. Because I believe that when we receive Christ in our life, we're at a level of brokenness. Because other than that, He can't really do anything with us. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, we've lived lives thinking that we've been doing all the greatest things, making all the best decisions. And honestly, it's not true. When you finally realize that God has actually been using you all along, that's where the greatest reward is, I believe. Because I think that we feel that when we receive Christ in our life, then our new life begins, yes? But we believe, or we kind of think, that that's when a real walk starts. When honestly, no. God has been using us all along.
That's right.
Whether you've been a coach or a teacher or a mentor or whatever you've been in work, school, or in friendship of a neighborhood, or even in a family, you've been actually doing what God's purposed you to do. The only thing that's been different is your focus, your reception to understanding that you have been doing it. If David, before he was anointed as the king at a young age, right, was already practicing with his slingshot and rocks, and was already taking care of the sheep, bathing them, feeding them, covering, talking to them, singing to them, even before he was anointed, then there's something there in us too. Because we've all been in some kind of a ministry, not knowing that it's been a ministry. And the Lord shared with me last week, went to a tent revival, and I knew there was something there for me. I didn't know what it was going to be about the message or anything. But during the praise and worship, He said something to me. He said, "You have been doing my work all along." And then He shared with me all these different moments that He's had me part of that I had forgotten. And He said, "You will never know their name. You will probably never see them again here. But you have been impacting their lives." And if we really think about it, and I'll share with this some other time, but in those people's lives, it was a life and death thing. But to me, it was just going and doing my part for them. But now that I think about it, there was a life and death thing going on. We've been having weather changes right now. You know, the day that I received Christ in my life, it was during a really bad storm at the track. And you're talking about lightning and thunder and wind, rain and hail. It didn't take me off the track because I was being defiant. And in that defiance, my weakness, and in that weakness, receiving Jesus in my life. Have we all not fought that long before? Because we're so busy thinking about ourselves, being selfish,
Amen.
we forget about the people that are around us. Because we're so worried about where we stand, when we should be worried about where they stand. Because when we're numbered, right, we're not numbered as 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. We're numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, on and on in the body of Christ. And when you understand that, then it doesn't hurt, it doesn't bother you to kneel down before someone in respect, or show honor to them in a handshake, or your promise in your word by a hug. Those very things that we've been taught that we shouldn't do, that it's uncomfortable. Because the world wants you to stay apart, wants you to be separated from the love of God. And when you unite together like that and you decide to show that for someone else, it may be a little bit uncomfortable for them for a little bit until they realize the real heart of God that's working in you. And that's where we need to be in every aspect of our life. Is it hard? Yes. Because we're going to have distractions always. We're going to have emotion. We're going to have people disagreeing. We're going to have people with opinions. But our best move is to stand, even in silence, and give God the glory in that one moment. Because when they see that, they don't get a response, then they're going to get a reflection of God right in front of them. Because honestly, that's the attack. The world attack is wrapped around them. Well, because we are anointed of God, because we have His covering on us, because of our obedience and our trust in Him, people around us who have not received that are going to come against us because they don't understand it. Why is the world so full of chaos right now? Well, we could say in general that's what it is. But I would say there's people just like us all across the country and the world trusting in the one true God against more than we are going through, even sometimes giving their very lives. We can't even fathom that in our end. But let's just say when your children are away, it's almost the same feeling because they're not right next to you. You can't watch over them, you can't protect them, you can't even hear them sometimes. That's the same thing as loss. You see? So we're trusting in God and knowing that He's working in us, then we have to believe that He's working in them as well. Because He is the one true God who is everywhere at the same time. Man, God gets the glory for that.
Amen.
I just want you to say in Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name.
Because He said, in His name, you have power.
Amen.
Well, you also have the anointing of God. When you receive Christ in your life, you have not just salvation and the forgiveness of sins, you receive righteousness.
Amen.
You receive His favor. You receive His anointing. And the power of God that no one can take away. The world's going to try to convince you that it's not there and it's not real. But you can't convince me. Because I've seen Him at work.
Amen.
And you have too. So instead of us giving it back, instead of us acting like we don't have it, we should be walking like we are in it. Not boasting, but glorifying God and saying, this